Wi-Fi feels like a quiet convenience that only gets noticed when it stops working. A video pauses, a page won't load, or a call suddenly drops and the interruption feels random. In reality, Wi-Fi depends on radio waves moving through space, constantly affected by distance, obstacles, and competing signals. When that delicate balance shifts even slightly, the connection can disappear without warning. What seems like a simple system is actually a complex exchange happening every second, right here on History of Simple Things. The air is far busier than it appears. Wi-Fi networks operate on specific frequency bands, primarily 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz, and in many areas these bands are heavily occupied. Nearby routers, especially in apartments or dense neighborhoods, compete for the same channels. Add in Bluetooth devices, wireless peripherals, and household electronics, and the space becomes crowded with overlapping signals. When too many devices try to use the same channel, interference becomes inevitable. Signals can collide, forcing data to be resent over and over. At first, this results in slower speeds or lag, but as congestion increases, the connection may fail entirely. A sudden drop can simply be the result of too much noise overwhelming the signal at once. Wi-Fi signals weaken as they travel. The farther a device is from the router, the more the signal degrades. Physical barriers make this worse. Walls, floors, and large objects absorb or reflect radio waves, sometimes in unpredictable ways. Materials like concrete, metal, and even thick wood can significantly reduce signal strength. As the signal weakens, the connection becomes less stable. Devices attempt to maintain communication, but there comes a point where the signal is too faint to sustain. At that moment, the connection drops. What feels like a sudden failure is often the final stage of a gradual weakening that went unnoticed. Modern households rely on more connected devices than ever before. Smartphones, laptops, smart TVs, gaming systems, and even appliances all share the same network. Each device continuously sends and receives data, placing a demand on the router's capacity. Routers are designed to manage multiple connections, but they have limits. When too many devices are active at once, the system can become overloaded. Bandwidth gets stretched thin and the router struggles to keep up with requests. In these moments, some connections may slow down while others are temporarily dropped altogether. The network isn't failing randomly, it's trying to manage more than it can handle. The router itself plays a central role in connection stability. Over time, hardware can age, components can wear down, and performance can decline. Heat buildup is another factor, especially for routers that run continuously without proper ventilation. When a router overheats, it may throttle performance or restart, cutting off all connections in the process. Software issues add another layer of complexity. Routers rely on firmware to manage traffic, assign channels, and maintain connections. Bugs or outdated firmware can lead to instability, causing unexpected drops. On the device side, operating systems and network drivers can also introduce problems. A mismatch or glitch in how devices communicate with the router can disrupt the connection without warning. Not every Wi-Fi drop originates within the home. Internet service providers can experience outages, maintenance periods, or fluctuations in service. When this happens, the Wi-Fi signal may still appear strong, but there is no internet behind it. In some cases, the router repeatedly disconnects and reconnects as it tries to re-establish service, creating the impression of an unstable network. At the same time, modern devices constantly make decisions about how to stay connected. They may switch between frequency bands or move between access points to maintain the best signal. These transitions are usually seamless, but not always. A brief misstep during this process can cause a temporary drop, even if the network itself is functioning normally. Wi-Fi networks include built-in security measures to protect connections. Encryption protocols and authentication processes ensure that only authorized devices can connect. However, these systems can sometimes create interruptions. If a device fails to authenticate properly or if network settings change, the connection may be terminated. In some cases, routers automatically disconnect devices that appear inactive or behave unusually as part of their security features. This can lead to unexpected drops, especially when a device briefly loses signal and attempts to reconnect. Updates to passwords, security modes, or encryption standards can also force devices to reconnect, creating short but noticeable interruptions. Beyond security, there is a more fundamental reality. Wireless communication is inherently less stable than wired connections. Radio waves are influenced by movement, environmental changes, and countless invisible variables. Even small shifts in position, like moving a device or opening a door, can subtly affect signal strength. Wi-Fi isn't failing in these moments, it is constantly adapting to a changing environment, and sometimes that adaptation results in a temporary loss of connection. A sudden Wi-Fi drop rarely has a single cause. It is usually the result of multiple factors interacting at once. Interference in the air, distance from the router, network congestion, hardware limitations, or external service disruptions. Each piece plays a role in maintaining the connection, and when one falters, the entire system can be affected. What makes Wi-Fi feel unpredictable is the sheer number of variables involved. It is a system in constant motion, adjusting and adapting in real time. When it works, it fades into the background, almost invisible. When it doesn't, the interruption reveals just how complex that invisible connection really is. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.